How we doing tonight? Or morning for those of you on the other side of the world and upside down. Welcome back to the Messy Desk. It is still quite messy. You know, I see Mad Dog in here, Pat, Howie, Down Under. Mad Dog, I'm glad to hear through the chat that after that experience you are feeling better. Chipped teeth are never fun. Down Under, you know, work sucks, but unfortunately we all have to do it. Mad Dog's living the life right now. He's got some strong meds, so he's probably just comfortable as heck. All right, gonna give people a few minutes to trickle on in here. Our dew of the night is a Baja Blast. So we're going to go ahead and open that up. Then James is back there behind the camera. He's cheating on the Prusa. He doesn't have Haribo. He's got Sour Patch watermelons. Ooh, split in half. Ugh. I'm not jealous, Mad Dog. That sounds painful. LTX, how you doing? Welcome on in. We're trying a new mic setup tonight. So if something sounds different, please let me know. We finally went from just the DJI to we actually have a lavalier. So if it sounds better, if it sounds worse, if it sounds the same, you know, I'd love to know. We've got 4 people in on the poll so far. Apparently you guys are ready for you guys are ready for another food challenge. For those of you that aren't ready, I have good news. The food challenge is not tonight. So you don't have to be ready tonight for one, but you have an entire week to get ready for a food challenge. And yes, I am probably going to torture myself, and it's going to be a fun stream because I'm going to wonder how I'm going to talk to it. So, okay, so we're getting sounds fine, sounds clear. All right. I'm still sitting here having the aftermath of dinner because James and I went out and had barbecue. He had brisket and smoked sausage, and I had chopped pork. So, good barbecue for dinner. See, I can't really see how many people are in yet. There are dragons in his kitchen. What's wrong with dragons? Actually, in Australia, I think I can find a problem with there being dragons.
Those are some good meds.
Yeah. Another creature like that is the last thing Australia or Florida needs, so. Okay. Well, where we left off last time, we sat here and finished getting the build plate in. We got all of our electronics in the back. We've got our wiring in, and we left off right at the end of the next chapter. So we're going to be getting into the chapter. They're finally telling us that I'm going to need to get these needle nose pliers out. And these needle nodes are covered in the factory oil. So we're going to grab a paper towel and just get that wiped off because I don't want that all over me.
Is that what she said?
They're low-flying elephants. Oh god, Bad Dog is having a Dumbo experience. Look out for the heffalumps and woozles. Okay. So, I need to sit here and get into our printed parts box.
Yeah, it was some good southern barbecue.
And from the printed parts box, actually no. This says this is in the, not in the printed parts box, it's in the Core XY parts and hinges box. Let's see, so this box. So we've got our Core XY parts and hinges, and they are two of these little rod holders. Now, these are, yep, they're metal. I saw lines on them, I'm like, this feels like metal, but it looks 3D printed. But nope, they are metal. Because you can tell on the top and bottom surfaces where they were machined out. Caleb, how you doing? Yes, pink heffalumps, Caleb. That's what Mad Dog is seeing. Howie, barbecue is definitely the food of the night. It's good. Down Under, I saw you're not late. I saw you in here earlier. Let's see here. Okay, so we have our two boards and we have our rear hinge ones, which are also in this box and also metal and machined, it looks like. And then we need M3x10 and M3x6 screws, and those are silver, so let me make sure I don't have them already out. I do have the M3x10s already out, so that's good. Now let's see about these M3x6s. Nope, those are 6Rs. M3x6 should be in here. Keyword should. M3x8. I have a feeling it's these ones that are exploding out everywhere. They are M3x6. Okay. So that is one thing I don't like about these little packages. They are nice and organized and named, but once you open them, you got to be really careful not to spill everything out of them. Okay. And then we also need the big metal plate. So here is the big metal plate. We're just going to put that off over here for now. Okay, so we have to grab both of our rod holders, and they want two M3x10s in each of them.
I'm not doing too bad, Caleb. I think I'm getting a little sick again, which is annoying, but you know, what can you do?
Yeah, it's that time of the year where pressure changes and all that happens, so with pressure changes come unexpected colds. Just screwing. There's 2 holes on the front face of each of these. I'm just screwing them in to where they hit where they're hitting, but they're not quite getting tight. So we have a screw, one up top, one down below. And yeah, they're saying do not tighten fully for now. So I'm just going until they kind of go up against the metal piece and then stopping. That seems to be a good stopping point where you're not really clamping down on them, but they're not just rattling around.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get me some soup for sure. It's mostly my throat that is not feeling too great. You know, similar to how it was, I don't know if you were around, Caleb, but a couple weeks ago when I came back from my trip to New York, the sickness that I got from New York was pretty much only in my throat, and it's starting off pretty similar to how that one was. I'm hoping it's not that bad because that was pretty darn bad. We'll see how it goes though.
All right, and then on our other metal pieces that we pulled out, there's a screw goes in each of these. And I'm doing the same thing just until it kind of bottoms out but doesn't start actually clamping. Caleb, I am so happy though that we just ate. Otherwise, you would have just made me hungry. Because chicken dumpling soup does sound good. But the peach cobbler I had sounds even better. And it was a good peach cobbler. I can tell you, Caleb, so far this kit is fun. The instructions are quite clear. So that makes it nice. Now, what they're saying on this is on here, there's a little slot over here. That side is going to be on the right. And then these 2 corners with the flanges are facing up. Yeah, Caleb, it was actually we got kind of lucky. The restaurant had made too much cobbler. And so they were having a deal where we got their peach cobbler, which was a bowl maybe that big, that deep, and 99 cents. So I could not turn that down. Okay, so here comes the fun part. I've got to move some stuff around down here. Bear with me real quick so I can move stuff around. So I have a place to move this printer down so you guys can see what I'm doing up here. Ugh.
Once we get to the new studio, that's not going to be an issue anymore.
Okay. That's a bit easier for you guys to see, I think. So now what it's telling us is apparently we're going to lay these things flat, and on these, I'm going to stand up and show you guys. There's a 45-degree cutout right here on the corner. This hole should be facing down. Cut up should be facing up, and then placing them in the corners so that if you follow those cutouts, they go towards the center. Okay. And then it's having us take and turn it, looks like upright. And then grab some M3x6 screws, and they're going to go through them.
So the goal for the new studio is hopefully the stream after we finish the Prusa, which, while it probably is going to not be finished next week, maybe the week after we can finish it, and then the stream after that will hopefully be in the new studio.
Yeah. We still have some stuff to do in the new studio to get it ready. Because I can tell you right now, if we were to go to the new studio today, the reverb in that studio is intense. So you guys would be hearing echoes like crazy. So I don't want to subject you guys to that. Now, I think I just made a little thing. OptiPax, how you doing? Welcome on in. Let's see here. I'm just trying to get this. There we go. So there's two holes. The one in the rod holder is actually quite deep. So, like Caleb, you said you're building one of these soon. I'd recommend trying to get that in before you sit here and get it on the plate, because that's going to be the one that's going to be hard to kind of juggle around. This front one, it's actually quite shallow, and so getting that lined up is not going to be as hard as the one in the deep socket. OptiPax, I definitely can understand busy. Oh, Mad Dog, in 2 months, I don't think it's going to take me that long to finish this. I know I'm slow at building.
Honestly, while it's definitely not ready in the studio yet, it's more so that we don't want to transport an unfinished printer from here to there than anything else. So that's kind of why the timeline is, hey, once this printer is done.
Okay. Just lining up our screw there. And we're doing the other side now. And now that that's lined up, going down, giving them, making sure that they're nice and torqued down, because this one, it does tell us to tighten these down. Now, what I will say is, back in these two corners, there are actually 4 screws. You're going on the bottom set of the screws, not the ones at the top. Oh, Mad Dog. Be nice to Repo. Let's see here. Okay, so now we need to find some plates, which it says are in metal box 1, which I think I actually already have out. Yep. These are our 2 plates with hexagons. Then we need our XY carriage, which isn't, that one is in the printed parts box.
So I do think I am going to edit them down into videos for sure. I just haven't decided if I'm going to, do a video per stream, or if I'm going to make it all one video, or what I'm going to do there. That's kind of why nothing really been said yet. But it's definitely, something's going to happen. I'm just not sure what.
Okay, so we have our 2 XY carriage parts. Next is the LM10 LUU linear bearings, which are found in the Core XY parts and hinges. So these right here. And then last but not least are the GT20 idlers, which are found in the electronics and fastener box. And we need 4 of those. That's GT20 idler, those are pulleys, and are these all the same kind of pulley? These look to be the same kind of pulley. Let me check on the front here. Yep, GT220. So we only need 4 of them. There's 10 in the package. So we're gonna put that aside up there like that. And then we need M3x8 RT screws, which, let's see here. Thank you, OptiPacks. Thanks for stopping on in. All right, M3x8 RTs, and then M3x18s. They're right there. Hybrid House, thank you. Every subscription helps, and welcome in. I guess that's you, Caleb. Well, thank you for subscribing on the other account. That definitely helps. Okay, so we're going to take, it says to take one of the XY carriages, and I'm going to use the one that they're showing in the picture. And then a GT20 pulley. Inserts from the side. And then we need an M3x18. And that's going to feed all the way down through. So it does kind of just slide in there. And that is a very tight fit. So as we go, and just screwing in. All right. And then we have to line up, try to line up this pulley as we're getting this in, because it does not just kind of feed in there. It is a tight fit, and we're screwing through plastic here. So I'm using the bottom hole to kind of try and line up the pulley. And it looks like that worked. We're going to keep going. Get this all the way through. Oh, this is tiring. This is where I wish I kind of had a powered screwdriver. Trying to go until I feel that resistance. where it's like kind of stopping. Still haven't found that yet. That is a pretty deep hole. So what did everybody do for Pi Day? All right, we got that in, and it will literally go till that screw is flush on the other side. So you'll keep screwing that through until you're nice and flush. And then we turn it upside down. Grab another pulley. Caleb, unfortunately, my Pi Day was me working. But James had, today is the Ides of March over here. I know, Mad Dog, the Ides of March was yesterday for you, and Pi Day was 2 days ago for you. So Howie had some peach cobbler for Pi Day. Was it at least in the shape of a circle, Howie? You know, circular peach cobbler on Pi Day. You know, it may not be pie, but at least it's still a circle, and that relates to pie. But James has an interesting bit of tidbit about today, which is the Ides of March. You want to go ahead and share that with everyone, James?
It has been exactly 2,069 years since Julius Caesar was stabbed. Nice.
Yep, that has been his trivia that he's been going around with today. You looked, and how you looked at a pie. That could be a very fun thing, so we're just kind of... We've got that lined up. Now it's just... getting this screw all the way in. It was egg roll, a peach cobbler in the shape of an egg roll from Arby's. I can't say I've ever had Arby's peach cobbler. Is it any good? All right, nice and flush. They do smoothly rotate, so we're good there. That looks like one of the roads. Huh. And then it says, hey, once you've done one, go and do the other. Okay. Mike, how you doing? I think I know what Mike is looking for. But Mike, you're gonna have to wait to see that one. I can say those new SSD hats for the Pi 5, they're pretty nice, especially the PoE SSD hat. But I'm also a fan of PoE. Not exactly what I was thinking about, Mike, but okay. working on getting these screws all the way through. These are some very tight tolerances on these parts. Well, Mike, you made me have to go to pick up, you know, I've had a different one for every single stream. And I actually had to go and pick up new hair ties today. So we have a whole new set. Unfortunately, I haven't found any funky ones like Studio Ghibli or anything like that yet to use, but one day maybe. Ah. So Howie, you and I both had cobbler today. Okay, so I'm just gonna... Yeah, it's going. We're just trying to get this. There we go. We got that in. Just start printing. Well, Mike, in order to print the stuff, I need to get a printer up and working. So hopefully soon we'll have a printer up and working. Ooh, a penguin hair tie charm would be awesome. You know, pretty soon. But at that point, if I'm going to be doing like those little charms, I might as well tie them into the beard. And now you guys are going to want to see little charms tied into my beard. All right, so that's moving nice and smooth. Those are both moving nice and smooth. I will tell you that you definitely feel getting those screws in because it is a very tight tolerance. Oh, Caleb, there's no problem getting distracted by a cat. Yeah, Mike, I did it to myself. There is no problem getting distracted by a cat. Okay, so we have our pieces. And it's showing that the idler that is actually visible, not covered by the plastic, should be closest to the hexagons. And then, wow, okay, more M3x18s going through this thing. I have a feeling I am going to get an arm workout today because of these tolerances. Hey, that one just kind of went through. That's nice.
I mean, I can get you an impact driver if you want.
Yeah, James gets me an impact driver. Next thing I know, I just hear the cracking of plastic. That would be fun.
It'd be fun for me.
Let's see here. Beard charms help catch the crumbs for later. Beard snacks. Beard snacks are awesome. I mean, there's multiple reasons they call it a flavor saver. No, the beard can be a flavor saver too. All right, so we've got that in. We don't want to torque down too hard because the plastic in between the screw and the metal plate is weaker than the screw or the metal plate. All right, getting out 3 more screws. Going through here. Havoc, you missed the secret to the life, the universe, and everything. We finally found the answer. Or we found the answer. Fine. You missed epic cat videos.
But all cat videos are epic.
Yes, but some are more epic than others. Especially when they have kittens in them. Okay, so we're getting the 3 in here. But no, in all seriousness, Epic, all you missed so far is a forearm workout. Yes. Okay, so apparently take and turn these around. And then we're going to get our M8x3 RTs.
Man, I must have also missed my face reveal. What did it look like? I have no idea.
Well, the reason they missed the face reveal is you broke the camera when you looked at it.
Bingo.
Yeah, that's why we don't let James on camera. He breaks cameras by looking at them. 1, so we're getting out 8 screws here. Okay, and I believe these are Torx. They are. Are they going to be good for our handle? Yes, they are going to be good for the handled screwdriver. Now, do these do not have a top or bottom, so we're good there. We're just going to kind of get our first one started. No, Mike, Raiders of the Lost Ark had less braking than when James looks at a camera. Let's see here. Caleb, your cat is jealous of the 3D printer. It gets more attention than her. My youngest cat is finally getting to the point where it's starting to do cat things, where I'll be laying in bed and she has found the perfect spot that I can see her and she can't ignore me, and she knows I want her up on the bed so that way I can give her scratches, but she's got that perfect spot of, this is me sitting in a spot where you can see me ignoring you. So she's in that phase now where she wants you aware that she is ignoring you. So we're just getting these 4 screws in. And this is going a lot easier than those screws to hold the pulleys in. All right, and then we're just going to go in our cross pattern. Make sure we have a nice tight and torque down. All right, that's 1. And now it's time for number 2. So I will say the new studio is coming along. I can't wait to show you guys what it looks like.
I think my biggest issue right now is trying to figure out what we're going to do with the walls. Because right now, it has two walls like we have here, but they're both completely bare, and I don't know what to do with them just yet.
Let's see here. Caleb, I completely agree. Whoever did this manual, you know, did an amazing job on it. It is easy to follow. The pictures are nice and clear. You know, mentioning what bag and everything comes in. Prusa has done an amazing job on this manual so far.
The thing is, you gotta remember, he also stands up sometimes, so it's a big space to fill. Well, yes, we can absolutely put a printed logo on it. Can't be all of it. It's way too big of a space for just that.
I think James just called me fat. Granted, I'm fat. But still, James, that hurts. Okay. Yep, this is just saying, hey. I kind of skipped a step. It's just saying, hey, do the same thing over again. Okay. So now we have our back carriage. It's saying still keep these at the back. But these are going to come on the side. Aha. They're going to go like so. And then if you look in here, let me stand up and show you guys. There's a gap between the rod holder and the bearing holder. The metal frame is going to go in that gap. And it's making sure that the little pieces we had here, the stick outs are away from those. So this just kind of goes and sits like that. Okay, now I need to find some linear rods. Let's see here. Armor, how you doing? We are having fun building the Prusa. If you actually go a bit farther back in chat, Caleb was mentioning, and I was agreeing with him, how well the manual is done. It's very easy and clear to understand. All right, Mike, I think we'll go ahead and give you your hair tie. Got a pink and white one today. Kind of cross-checkered pattern today. Okay, so we need 2 8mm rods and 2 10mm rods. And those are in the aptly named rod box. And there's 2 of each, so. And then we need some M3x6s, which I believe we already have out. We do. So there's our M3x6s. Let's see here. Armor, right now it's just one Prusa shirt. The other one has not come in. Last I checked, it was in Miami. Shots fired down under. Those are definite shots fired. Okay. We're going to get our two little rod holders, and then we are going to grab the 10mm shaft. And it's saying get those lined up, get it lined up with the end. And then we're going to push them through the bearings. Let me zoom in on this. Okay, we want to make sure that the heads of the screws are facing towards the outside. So that goes through the screws and then into this last piece here, which I think, even though I just tightened these barely enough to hit the metal, we might need to loosen some more. Okay. I can definitely say for a fact there is no pressure on there, so that is a hard thing to get through there.
That's what she said.
All right, that side went in a lot easier.
How is it that that's what she said joke is never not funny?
Let's see here. Armor, we are on assembly part 5 of, I believe, 7. So, getting pretty far along here. All right, I'm going to try flipping the rod around just to see. We might have a bit of easier time that way. Yep, slightly easier that way. All right, that is nice and flush. That's nice and flush, okay. Let's see here, then the yellow part is make sure that we're lined up flush on the end there, which that one can go a bit farther in. There we go. All right, that one is definitely flush. There we go. We are nice and flush on both ends there. Now this is saying to take 2 M3x6s, and we're going to tighten down the back little bracket And then once I get the back bracket tightened down, I'm actually going to torque down our screw to hold in the rod. But I'm using this because these screws were very likely precision drilled, so I know that this is going to be nice and even. And then when I torque this down, we are in the right place to put pressure on this rod, because yep, that is nice and flush. We're going to give this a good ugga-dugga. All right, so one side is in. Now we get to do it on the other side. Okay. And I will say these have so far, knock on wood, lined up pretty well. So armor, I will say there have been, following the manual has definitely been a lot simpler on this compared to the 2.4. So far the only part that's really given me a workout has actually been the idler bearings, or screwing in the idlers to the threaded part, because the tolerances there are very tight going in, so you're screwing from the beginning. But other than that, it has been a simple build, easy to follow, and I really don't have any complaints about it. It's been enjoyable. It's really nice to see, nice when, you know, there's clear, simple instructions. So yeah, it's been pretty enjoyable.
Do you know what time I think it is?
What time do you think it is?
I think it's adult beverage time. I'll be right back. If he does anything stupid while I'm gone, let me know. I want to laugh at it.
You need me to do something stupid to laugh at me?
No, but it makes it easier.
Okay, so we're just going to tighten down these screws that hold in our rod, so that way it cannot go anywhere. I will recommend for anybody that's doing this, I know that Caleb, you're planning on building one. When you're working with the rods, wear a set of gloves, because there is oil on them, and oil is slippery and gets everywhere. Okay, so once again, we need our little tool that honestly so far has been a very awesome tool for the zip ties, so I think we're going to get to see another use for it here. And then I need to grab our printed parts box, and then we need the XY motor mount left and the XY motor mount right, which are both in the bag. I love the fact that, you know, you're not having to rely on the images to make sure you're grabbing the right part. The bags are listing off, even on the printed parts, what's inside. So that makes it super simple. Let's see, gonna grab some of my Mountain Dew with my oily fingers. Graphite anti-seize. Don't think I've ever worked with that, but only graphite I've ever worked with is the graphite powder as a lubricant for Pinewood Derby cars. So I can say I do not have experience with graphite anti-seize. Oh, okay. Armor, the shots have been fired back. Oh. James is having fun.
Let's see if I can do this. I'm gonna try and show you this. Focus.
Hey, James. Would you like me to just hold it and show him?
I'm gonna get it.
So that is what James is imbibing. He has become a very big mead person lately.
Liking.
Okay, so we need M3 by 30s. Let's get some of these back where they belong. That does not go in that bag. This goes back in this bag, and our M3 by 30s are apparently in this bag. If they're not already out on the table. I have the strangest feeling our M3 by 30s are in this bag, but I need those M3 by 18s anyway, so we'll keep them out. And then M3 in S, which I do believe that's what these are. Yep, M3 in S. And then there are our M3 by 30s. And then spacers. Those were found in the electronics and fastener box. Which I have a feeling I've already pulled out that bag. And I'm going to need to find what I did with that bag. Because, yep, the spacers are not in here. Magnets, those are more of our idler pulleys, which we'll put our last idler pulley back here.
I made sure it's clean, don't worry.
Yes, Armor, the shirt was washed in between the weekends. That's our cable grommets. So James's review of the mead is it is not as good as the last one he had. Okay. Did I put it in the box here?
Cool ass bottle though.
I am just looking for these spacers. That's a washer. That is empty. And now James is happy because he was able to get his cork back in his bottle. Okay, I think I am actually going crazy here. I think I found it, and I think they were in the package I thought they weren't in. They were, in fact, in the package I thought they weren't in. They are just tiny. Let me get these out of the package real quick, and then I'll show you how small these spacers actually are. Okay. That is how small those spacers are. They are absolutely tiny.
Holy cow. No wonder. I didn't look at the alcohol percentage on this before I picked it out. The last one I think was like, I don't know, 4%, because, you know, it's mead. It wasn't really meant for alcohol. It was meant for, it's the only thing you could drink. This thing is 19%.
Translation, James is going to be very happy by the end of the stream. If he drinks it, because James is not a fan of the taste of alcohol. He likes alcoholic beverages, just don't sit here and make it so he can taste the alcohol.
I mean, it depends. I like whiskey. I like beer. I just don't like many other hard alcohols other than whiskey.
There probably is a joke with the cork, Howie. But yeah, we'll leave it. Okay, so apparently we're going to be using our little tool. And then we take one of our idlers. And that fits right in there. And then this actually holds that tiny spacer above it. I'm guessing to make it nice and easy to line everything up. And it actually does hold it, so that's not going to fall out. Aha. And then we're going to place another idler on top of that.
You know, there absolutely is a joke in there, but it's me. You guys wouldn't make jokes at my expense. That's what Penguin's for.
Oh no, please, make fun of James.
They wouldn't do that. They love me too much. I'm the golden child.
Okay, so we apparently use this. And which one of these? Okay, they're showing this one. So with trying to see the orientation they have here. Okay, they have the orientation this way. It looks like no. Let me check the printed parts box, because either this is the piece they're showing, but they have it split, mirrored. There we go. I'm an idiot. Okay, I've been told I have to try some mead. There. Not my cup of mead, but how we doing, Shrimp Father? Welcome on in. My orientation was just off, so now we take this, we take our entire assembly, and that kind of just rests in there, and oh, that is nice. So it's printed at the perfect height so that it lines up the hole. And then we run the M3x30 through it. I am loving this tool more and more. Now, where did I put my other hex driver? That's my 2 mil. I need my 2.5 mil. That one will work. Right. So now apparently we should just be able to pop this thing, I guess, up, and there we go. I love this tool. This is awesome. Okay, so then apparently we take and we're going to add another idler into the corner, and that's going to be an M3x18 holding that in. Sparky Cat, how you doing? Welcome on in. We are just getting some of the XY idlers all in and ready. And we are going to have another one where it's nice tight tolerances. Let me make sure, yep, M3x18. We're just screwing this down. And then we're making sure whatever side you put the screw in to get the double idlers in, you're using that same side to screw the single idler in. Then we have rotation there. We have good rotation there. They do have room to move, so we are good there. That's one done. And then we need to get one of our square nuts. Apparently the only square nut for this. And that is going to fit into the top hole on here. So where you screw the side you screwed into, the top protrusion is where it's going to go. Okay. And now we get to do another set of the idlers with our tool. So for those of you just joining us, idler goes in tool, it kind of clicks in there. Spacer goes in and it's a nice tight fit, and then idler goes in and that just holds it all together. So this time we're going to go with this, and our entire thing goes in. And then it's another M3x30. So does anybody have any plans besides getting drunk for St. Patty's Day? Take. All right, we got that in, and then this entire thing just pops off. We grab our next idler. And it's another M3x18. Because, you know, people in here may not be Irish, but at least here in the States, everyone's Irish on St. Patty's Day, apparently. Which, from what I understand, is kind of ironic because it's like one of the days that they actually don't drink in Ireland. But a lot of people here in the States get plastered. I don't know if we have anyone that's over in the British Isles that can confirm what I've heard about Ireland or the Republic of Ireland or Northern Ireland on St. Patty's Day, but if that's true, I would actually love to know that. So how he's playing is working and playing with printers and Nerf blasters. Armor 3D, we do like to twist traditions. That is definitely for sure. Or corporatize them. But yeah, playing with printers and Nerf blasters, that definitely sounds fun. James wants me to build a foam flinger eventually. Don't know what we're gonna build, but we'll build him one eventually. We'll make it hot pink and teal.
I always wanted one of those super big Nerf blasters with the bolt action and all that. I don't know if they make those for 3D printing, but that would be cool.
Oh, they do. Okay, M3x30, M3x18s, we got those. We got our square nuts, and I need M3x12s. That's M3x12 RT. I don't need RT. I don't need M3x12 CT. That's M3x10. Pretty sure those are M3x6s. Yep. Definitely don't need the M2s unless I'm reading. Nope, it is M3x12. Pulleys, that is garbage. Let's get that out of there. M3x8, M3x10. Pulleys, that's garbage. We'll put that in the garbage can. Nope. Okay, it was supposed to be in this bag, so I have it somewhere here. I'm terrible. I didn't put things back. This is entirely on me. I see the bag for the M3x12s. Let me get this power terminal screw back in its bag. There's our M3x12s. James, are you looking up the printer that Shrimp Father, or the Nerf foam flinger that Shrimp Father said to get?
Not yet. I'm actually looking at trying to figure out which one it was that I've always wanted from actual the Nerf, the company.
And then Howie says you're gonna get it in pink, hot pink and magenta. Mad Dog, we are eventually gonna get James his own printer. But first, we need to get some printers up and working. We won't do a build off with it, but he will have his own printer eventually. Okay, so apparently I'm supposed to have more idlers. I used to have one of those.
Nope.
Yeah,
This top one.
oh, they're the same. They're the same blaster. He's always wanted a Nerf long shot. Okay, so there's
And
two,
a laser scope and everything. That's so cool.
3, 6, 10. Okay, apparently there's some other idlers in this package. No idlers in there. That is 10. So Parky, right now the printers I have a Creality Hallet 1 resin printer. That one's up and functioning. I have an Ender 3 V2 that is functioning but needs tuning. I have a Boron 2.4 350 that functions but needs a lot of tuning, and I need to change. Going to be changing out some parts on that, and then we're building the Prusa CORE One. So I'm trying to find where these extra pulleys come from, because there were supposed to be 2 in each of these, 6 in these. That's 10. This bag says that there's only 10 pulleys in it. Did I put some pulleys where there's not supposed to be pulleys? That's 3 pulleys there. That's 3 pulleys in that, so that's 6. Let's go back through these steps and see. That's 4 pulleys there. That's 10. Okay. That's our 10 pulleys. Okay, the electronics package. Is there another box here for electronics? So that's electronics and fasteners. apparently I need just, there it is. There are the last two idlers that I couldn't find. So there's 1 and 2. We will put that back in there so that is all kept together. Yeah, Parky, I just kind of got started. Raj, how you doing? Welcome on in. So let's see. Welcome back down under. Hopefully your pupils are behaving for you during your teaching time. Okay, we got all those parts. So next we need the belt tensioner that is found in the printed parts kit. Which is right here. So,
And how many maths is that? Just 2 maths? Because I only know of 1 math myself.
I can actually think of about 6 just off the top of my head. Algebra, geometry, calculus, trigonometry.
Yeah, that's all 1 math, like I said.
Let's see here. So we've got our belt tensioner parts. And then our belt tensioner pulleys.
And only non-Americans call it sport singular. Calculator? No. I don't need that. All I need is ChatGPT to help me out with this math. That's what kids are like nowadays. It's really, really annoying.
The only thing that annoyed me was the math teachers that sat here and wouldn't let me use a calculator on test, saying that I would never have a calculator in my I wouldn't be carrying a calculator in my pocket, and yet I carry around a calculator in my pocket. So I remember I had one teacher that sat here and specifically said on the test, no electronic calculators. And I taught myself how to use a slide rule because of that. And the teacher actually let me use it because they figured if he knows how to use it and he can do it, good for him.
Honestly, I think trig has always been my favorite form of math. So I'm kind of jealous. I love trigonometry.
Okay, so apparently we need to get the Prusa lubricant. And I am gonna get my gloves.
That's what she said? If she is your doctor?
Yeah, but Mad Dog, when you were in school, calculators were huge. Didn't you have those things that were like the size of the typewriter and they were the mechanical calculators?
Are you sure they were even invented yet?
Let's see here. So it's saying we're going to take some M3 by 30s. So no joke, those mechanical calculators are actually really cool. Okay. Oh, they didn't. Mad Dog didn't even have a mechanical calculator. He used an abacus.
Isn't that what every kid does with a calculator, though? Like, I've never have seen a kid not do that the first second that they get a calculator.
Okay. Let's get some of this on here, and we're going to do what it says and spread it on along. A little bit more. They'd want it just on the threads. And then what it's telling us to do is we're going to take one of our we're going to go down through the idler and into the idler pulley. But it is telling us, be careful, do not over tighten. Just going to kind of get it just in there enough to grab that screw, to grab that nut. And then I just want to make sure before I take off the gloves, if they're going to have us do it all over again. The next one. Well, that is, I'm going to assume that they want us to do it for the next one. Feed that down on through, and then take the gloves off. Okay. Gonna get this started. Okay. We've got that started, so let's go back in our Steps here.
You know, we may have been talking about St. Patrick's Day not too long ago, but it's not that day yet.
Okay, so we need some M3x18s. Oh, we need an M3x18. We're going to take ours with the slopes. Yeah, Miko, it's not quite, but top of the morning to you. Okay. So then this is going to feed through our little idler pulley piece.
And there was that entire bottle of mead gone.
So now you guys just get to listen to hear if you hear James slurring his words.
Honestly, I'm surprised now that I'm not already, because I kind of feel it now that I'm already completed the bottle. Did not taste good. I don't like this mead. But hey, it's alcohol, so I had to finish it.
Now, Miko, are you still in Canada?
It is a cool ass bottle though.
Or have you left holiday? Miko, it's not Irish whiskey, it's Norwegian mead. And he literally bought it because he liked the way the bottle looked. And he wanted mead. Alright, so Miko, you're back in Australia. Okay, so we need one of the M3x12s now. And this says it's going into the hole right down here, and it's saying to tighten it, but don't let it protrude out the other side, and that 5 turns should do it. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's in there. It's not protruding out the other side, so we'll leave it there. It is coming along nicely, Miko. Let's see here. So apparently the screw that's in this tensioner is going to be used to adjust the door sensor later. I like that they put little notes in here for me. Okay. We've already done this part. Now we're going to do our next idler. And again with an M3x18 to hold that idler in. I'm just tightening it to the point where I can just start to see it through the printed part to make it a bit easier on me for getting the idler in.
You know, I didn't realize that other places call pharmacies chemists. But I like it.
Chemists, and then some of them call it apothecaries. Still. Let's see here. All right, so we've got that idler in. That's apparently all there is to that one. Okay. Time to take a puff. Jeff, that does suck. Oh, I remember when I got my wisdom teeth out. I was so doped up after that. I couldn't imagine getting one pulled out nowadays and not having that afterwards. Okay, so we need our M3x30s, our M3x18s. Yep. We need M3x6s. Did I put those back? I did not put those back. That's M4x6, M3x12. Where did I put the M3x6s? This is one of the things that I'm going to be so happy to get in the new studio with, because I will have plenty of room to spread things out so I can see them all. There are the M3x6s. I won't be confined. I'll have like 5 desks to spread out over. All right, and then we're going to need our left and our right assemblies. Okay. So we need to take. So what they're telling us to do now is look, there's a little notch on one side of these idlers. So the notch should be at the top, and then this little arm should be at the bottom. And this is going to go on the left-hand side underneath. And the way you can, if you for some reason turn it around, the way you can tell it's left-hand side is there's actually a spade for an electrical terminal on the left-hand side. That's what this little copper, blow that up. That's what that little copper thing is. Okay. This is going to get slid all the way under like so, but now we need to find out that is it. So once you get it in there properly, it does kind of sit down and kind of lock in place because of that little notch on the top hand side. And then we need the M3x6. Let's see here. Hey Matt Owl, how you doing? Welcome on in. Okay, so we're just going to tighten this down. So it gets snug because we're going into plastic. So we don't want to go too tight because we don't want to strip out that plastic. After that, we're going to grab our other one. And that's going to go on the other side, and we're just going to find that little notch at the top. And get that to line up. And then another M3x6 is going to go in and hold that in. And once again, we don't want to go too tight on the ugga-duggas here because it's threading into plastic. Okay. And it's telling us turn the core XY upside down so the bent parts are facing downwards and focus on the front left of the assembly. So turn it upside down. The only thing that I can think of when they say the front left is if we turn it around, that's going to be our front left. That doesn't make sense either. Oh wait, that goes like that. And there we go. Yep, there's 3 holes there. We need 2 M3x30s, and those are going to go on the inner 2 holes, and the one on the outside is going to be an M3x18. Let's see here. Go to Lamia, how you doing this evening? Welcome on in. I am working on sitting here trying to talk and keep an eye on chat a bit more, so you know, feedback is appreciated. You know, I'm going to try to hop into Discord after stream today, so I am always up for constructive feedback on anything I can do to improve or anything I did, or, you know, just like anybody, if I did something really well that you liked, I like hearing that too. So probably about an hour after the stream ends, I will be in someone's Discord. Might be my own if you guys have not joined it. There is a link in the description to join my Discord. You know, we're kind of empty there right now, but working on gaining a following there.
The only thing I've got to say is that was some strong mead.
James is having a good night now. All right, so now we're going to go to our other side. And this time it's going to be M3x30s in all 3 of them. And I will say, if the stream all of a sudden ends, That's because it decided to start pouring and lightning and thundering, because Florida happens to be the lightning capital of the world, which means we get to deal with power outages all the time. So if the stream randomly ends, it's because we lost power, and it's not thankfully the stream computer is on a battery backup. James, is the internet is the ONT on a battery backup? So yeah, if all of a sudden we sit here and say, hey, we got to go, it's because the stream will still be up for a bit, but we're not going to have much time. So precious battery there is to keep everything up, and we won't have lights or anything at that point. And this gets really hard to see in here when you don't have lights. Havoc, you sent me a video on Discord? Or are you talking to somebody else? Let's see here. Go to the lobby. If you have one skill that you're good at, it's telling others what to do. Okay. So, we are apparently getting ready for the linear rail, which is in the electronics and chamber parts. And I can finally get rid of a box, because there are no more parts in this box. Yay! One less thing on the desk. All right, just in stream chat. All right, Havoc, I don't have that up, but I will definitely check it out after stream. Now, what they're saying is we need some M3x6s, which we have. We need our linear rail, and then metal parts 3 of 3. It looks like there is a backer that we're gonna need. Yep, there it is. So there's the backer. We have our backer, our rail, our M3, and then saying place a piece or use a piece of cloth or towel so we can wipe off the grease, the preservative grease from the linear rail. They are telling us to be very careful and not to remove the little bumpers for the linear rail at this time. Okay, and just because I know that's going to be greasy and slippery, I'm going to put on gloves again. Okay. So we are wiping off the the excess preservative lubricant. That's done. I'm going to throw that over there and then take our gloves off. So we wrap that off. It is, I'm used to, hey, you see a linear rail, you grease it, but they are not telling me. And if they're not telling me to do it, you know, they've built a ton of these, so I'm just going to follow their instructions. So now it's saying to place our rail on the beam, move the carriage to about the center. And then we are going to grab two M3x6s and tighten those down. Okay, we are not going to the very end or the next one in. We're going one more in from that. And this is just saying to slightly tighten. So I'm going to the point where I feel it hit the rail. But not all the way to Ugga Now I'm going to shift that around so that way our holes line up. There we go. Just to where it just started getting me the resistance. Okay, it's saying without moving, and this is where they're saying use the pliers, because unlike the rubber stoppers, this one actually has where you kind of grip them in to relieve the tension, so that way it's a friction fit opening up and keeping them in the holes. And we're going to grab some of this because underneath where those stoppers were was a bit more of that preserving lubricant. And then on the outside ones, we're going to add some more M3x6s. Okay. We're going to do the same thing, just down until we just feel that resistance.
I do want to know, what is everyone's favorite adult beverage, if any at all?
If you are legally allowed to drink them. And then we're going to take two more. And these are going to go right next to our carriage. This sky sounds angry. Okay. So now we need some M3x8 RTs. That's M3x4. It is not in that bag. It is not in that bag. It was supposed to be in this bag. Yay, I get to find screws again. And I think I might have found them. M3x8 RTs, good. And it's telling us to, hey, get the linear rail we did earlier. Don't remove the pins yet. Down under, if we need you, I will yell. But enjoy listening. Okay, so what it's telling us to do is we're going to rotate this around. And it's saying to move these to the approximate center.
That is very specific. But I do like whiskey, so might have to give it a shot.
Now, Miko, is that because it's your favorite or because you just left Canada and that's the last one you drank?
Okay, no los dos.
Okay, so with this is going to go here. These are going to go on here, and it is facing towards the smaller of the printed parts. And then we're going to secure each of them, each side, with 3 of these M3x8 Torx screws. I'm so happy Prusa sent this Torx driver. It makes it so much nicer, and magnets are amazing.
We got a few whiskey drinkers in here. I like it, I like it.
Let's see here. So we've got Dubliner Irish whiskey.
Now, is it maple whiskey because it's also from Canada, or is it taste like maple? I do really enjoy maple, being from up north myself. Definitely have to try that first one if it actually is maple.
All right, now they say to put it in the center. I'm going to move it up so I can actually fit the driver in between the printed parts. Let's see here. So it's something we're going to have to try. I'm a whiskey fan myself. In fact, I actually have some Glenfiddich single malt Scotch 12-year for James to try after the stream. But my normal one that I go to is I do actually like Maker's Mark as just a general, like, if I want to drink, it's something that I keep around the house, but I don't do the standard Maker's Mark. I do the Maker's 46. That's my inexpensive whiskey to just sip on for an occasion.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to give it a try.
Okay. So right now I'm just getting these screws in the back so that way I've made sure that they're all threaded in. But then once we thread everything in, then we'll go and give them some ugga-duggas to make sure that they are nice and torqued down. Let's see here. That was a nice Lego set that you posted and tagged him. Don't know, maybe he just hasn't seen it yet. I know he does do a lot of driving during the day, so how you doing, Wick Central? Welcome on in. All right, I'm just trying to get this last screw started. Because the hole appears to be lined up. It's just not. I've tried 2 different screws on it and it's just not wanting to bite. Let me try a 3rd screw just in case. Yep. Yes, for any Lego fans, I can definitely say going Down Under Maker has a Discord channel that is dedicated not just to Lego kits that are being built, but Lego memes and just having fun talking about Lego. Okay. There we go. Now I got it started. It was just a slight bit off, it looks like. So we're going to go through and give these some ugga-duggas. Make sure that they're nice and tight in there. Well, Down Under, when you sit here and show up to a lot of the streams, you tend to win a lot of the giveaways. All right, so now it's saying we can officially remove the stoppers now that that rail is secure. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I was holding off on hasn't told us to tighten down yet, so I've got them loosely tightened in the back there. All right, so what we need is some of those M3SN nuts and more of these M3x8 RTs. And then we need the bed stop rear found in the printed parts. It's not in the bag that we've been in, so let's find the bag that it is in. That is another empty bag. Empty bags make me happy. Because every empty bag means that we are that much closer to completing this build. Oh. I would say there's claws on them too down under. Okay, so we're just getting these nuts inserted in. And then we flip it over and one more nut goes on the other side. Let's see here. Gergman, welcome on in. How you doing? All right, so we've got our 3 square nuts. There's, if you look on them from the left and right side, there's 2 on one side, 1 on the stem, 1 on the T, top of the T, and then if you flip it over, there's 1 on the other top of the T. So we're going to look for our little triangle piece. On. I'm going to call it the gantry. I'm pretty sure this would be the gantry. Let's see here. Miko, you need to win a pile of 3030 extrusion and a custom build plate so you can possibly stream a remorph build. Well, Miko, I don't know how it is in Australia, but like I was looking on Amazon the other day and I think for like $60 I could get 4 like 1.2 meter links of 3030 for like, yeah, like $60 or $70. Okay, so this is going to slide up under our piece here. And say to line all 3 holes and then take the M3x8 Torx. Get this screwed in here. So that's 1. We're not going to go too tight on it because I want to be able to shift it around if I need to. And we're going to get our second one in here. That is 2. Let's see here. I can say the content is where it's at, and I do agree, Wix. Winning filament is a bonus. You know, eventually I may get to a point where I can do filament giveaways, but you know, I hope you guys don't show up for the filament giveaways. I do hope that you're showing up because you enjoy watching the content and that you want to help support the community and the creators in the community.
Nah, they'll just show up for me.
Or show up to support James, yeah. He needs support, you know. His, as we said earlier in the stream, he looks at cameras and cameras break, so you know the support really does help him.
You're not kidding. I need a lot of support. Unfortunately, I don't think many people here are qualified to give me that kind of support.
Let's see here. The build plate, okay, Miko, the build plate is the big expense because it's an odd size. Able to reduce the building volume, use a 300mm square bed build plate, though with some adjustments in the CAD. Havoc, no, there's no giveaway. Miko, would you be able to contact somebody and see about getting, like, you know, a Voron build plate that's 300, or is there different mounting holes that are needed for yours? Okay, so apparently now we need to get some more motors. We have our X-axis motor. And our Y-axis motor. Well, Wick, I hope that you're feeling better, because meeting some iron with your face does not sound A, healthy, or B, comfortable. Okay, so all right, Miko, that's what you're thinking, and you'll just have to get them either machined out by a machine shop or have fun doing it yourself. But with how expensive those build plates are, I think I'm with you. I think I'd rather have a machine shop. That way, if something goes wrong, hey, it's their fault. Okay, so we have those, and then we need to go back into the electronics box, because I remember seeing these earlier, and grab our pulleys, which they have so graciously already put the grub screws in for us. And then we need our special Prusa tool, which I am loving more and more. Okay, so we need to prepare the X-axis motor, which they do write on them which one is which. So this is our X-axis, and then it's saying to take our little tool, and we just put this down all the way, and then slide the pulley on in the correct orientation, making sure that rotate it so that the flat part is facing me, and then we want to make sure that at least one of those grub screws is on the flat part. Then use the fork to set the gap. And then what size are these? 2 mil? Those are 2 mil. So then saying push the pulley firmly and tighten the screw against the flat part of the hub. And then rotate it and tighten the second one. So that is our x-axis done. And that is just a nice little thing that it just slides under there instead of using that gap tool that you use with the Voron where it doesn't quite go. But I will say this one has a bit more of a defined lip on these than the LDO ones did. All right. Double check the tool head to make sure that the pulley must be on the motor side. Well, that is... I did a boo-boo. Two warnings about checking the orientation of the motor, and I still put it on upside down.
Wonder why they have 2 warnings. It's almost like they knew you specifically was going to be building this printer.
I think they had me specifically in mind for building it. Okay, now we have it. So the 2 sides should be closest to the motor housing on the x-axis. Now on the y, the exact opposite. 2 side away from the motor housing. And then what I try to do is I try to always make it so that as I look at my pulley, if I've got 2 set screws, I always keep the flat side one and then keep the rotation where the second one is in the same orientation comparatively on each one. So in this case, I started here in front of me and I went clockwise around to the next set screw. This one, we don't use the flat part, and this is what I get for not reading ahead. This time we are using apparently the hook part. Let's see here. Using the hook, place the thicker curved part between the pulley and the motor. Do not try to hook it around the shaft. Just rest the tool against the motor and make sure that the hook slides in between. So just kind of using that as a spacer, pushing down against it and tightening on. And I will say that seems very tall because the shaft is actually not flush with the end of the pulley. It's actually indented some, but it looks like that is the way it's supposed to be, because based on this image, I do not see the shaft flush with the edge of the pulley. Okay. So now we have our X and Y motor assemblies, and then we need the neck extruder holder found in the core XY parts and hinges. So that would be this wonderful metal piece. And then they're showing it like that. Need that, and then, oh, goody. Belt. Which I'm pretty sure there's only 2 belts in here, so... One, 2 belts, so... We've got the belts. And then M3 by 35s. I believe those are the M3 by 30s. M3 by goes up to M3 by 30, so M3 by 35s are in this bag. M3 by 25. M3 by 35. That's our first time dipping into these. And it looks like we're going to be using all of them, so... Okay. So now we get to route some belts. Before starting, refer to the illustration for a better overview. So it's going to come in, up around there, or around the pulley here, it looks like. Yep, around this bottom pulley, up over this pulley. Looks like through here, up around here, and back down through here, over, around the bottom one there, up, through here, and then over. And then the other one is just going to do it the same thing, but on the other side. So what they're saying is to take, let's see here, just going to look back at chat here. Let's see. Let's see here, Miko, we got that. Wick, that's the ouch part. Oh, I didn't see that part, Wick. The swelling pads the pain. Oh. Ugh. You're making me hurt just thinking about it. A Frax arm to hold a camera, that would be interesting, especially if you've got a lighter camera. That would be very interesting down under. Let's see here. They have more on print. Okay, so that's for the place that you're talking about, to Miko about. Sounds like they need 2 more. I don't know who needs 2 more of something, but... Alright, apparently what we're going to do... What it's having us do is fold the belt in on itself, so teeth are facing teeth, and push them in the back here between the bottom 2 idlers. That way it makes a nice little loop inside here. And I have the strangest feeling, yep, we are going to grab the Y motor. And that is going to fit down like so. With the cable kind of coming off this way. And, ooh, this is going to be fun. Firmly grasp the Y motor, then we're going to tilt everything up And while holding with one hand, tighten the M3x35s through the entire thing into the motor. This sounds like it's going to be one of those jobs that you're going to wish you had a third hand for. Okay. Oh, did I get lucky and get that lined up on the first? No, there's no way I got that lucky. I apparently got that lucky and had it all nice and lined up. Let's see here. So Gergman, from what I understand, they are only releasing the Core One L assembled, and that's because of the 120/240 bed, because of electrical wiring laws, I guess, in Europe. They're not as loose and lax about who's allowed to mess with mains voltage in Europe as they are over here in the States. I kind of wish they would release a version that was just a kit for those countries that did not care about that kind of thing, but I could also see from a company standpoint not wanting to be liable for it if someone were to make a mistake. But yeah, that second part is why I also see Prusa not doing it, because, you know, Vorons, you know, there's really no company to go after with the if something goes wrong. It's just a group of volunteers. But Prusa is actually a company, and so especially here in the US, you know, US citizens are very litigious. All right, so we've got that. So now we took that little piece that we fed through earlier and fed that up through here. All right, and then we're going to take, and this is going to come around this top idler. And then we are feed. What was the... Oh, litigious? Yes, I know big words. Yeah, Gergman, I'm not really a lawyer or anything, but I could see where, you know, hey, they sell parts, but they don't manufacture it. They just sell a bunch of pieces in a box. What you do with it is you. They're not behind the actual design and everything. IT is not a word. That's a profession. Okay, so apparently with this, we are going to take our belt and it's going to go in the center hole. And come back out through the first hole. And it only wants about 4 to 5 teeth, it says, sticking out. Which almost lines it up, which pretty much lines it up with the edge of this little opening. We're going to set that there for now. And then it's saying, hey, come back to the other end of the Y belt. We're going to take and feed that up through here. Okay, Miko, I will give you the win for being technically correct, which is the best kind of correct. Of yes, it is for a group of professions. So you can definitely have that win. Oh, Howie. Oh. Bravo, Howie. Bravo. That's the best response to that one. Caleb, what do you mean Floridians shouldn't know big words? I can speak English. Wait. James, correct me. I speaks American. All right. And then this belt route along the bottom through here. Yeah, Miko, I learned the Christmas before I got married was the day my partner taught me that I own nothing anymore. I got something that, you don't usually get in Florida. I got a really nice jacket that, I could use when we went on vacation to places farther north where it actually got cool. Well, in the 13 years that I have been married, I have worn that jacket all of 3 times. Not because it was only needed 3 times, but that was the only times that my wife wasn't wearing it, so I could actually wear it. Yep, I learned before I even said I do that I don't own anything anymore unless there's a problem with it. Then it's mine. Okay, so what we're going to do now is take our belt and run it through the center again. And then down and out through the other hole. All right. We're just going to kind of let that sit there for now. Now, I love how they show this just being, oh yeah, get to the back of this here, not showing that, hey, there's a carriage here and that could get in the way. It's really starting to pour. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but yeah, it's really starting to come down. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing again. Teeth facing each other, but this time instead of going through the bottom idlers, we're going to go through the top. We're going to again take our motor and put that on like so. And it's saying to take and pull it taut. And then once again, we're going to flip it up and do the thing. I need to find what I did with those M3x35s. I put them over here. I'm gonna grab 4 M3x35s. We got to be coming up on a point where I get gummy bears again. Okay.
Once.
We got one in. Two of these M3x35s in, holding the motor. Three. And 4. Now we're just going to tighten these down. Okay, almost done doing the cross tightening. All right, we're good there. And then I have a feeling we're going to do the same thing we did last time, except this time on the top instead of the bottom. Let's see here. Caleb, congratulations. So I know right where you are. I'm going on year 14 myself. So Bergman, your wife and I joke that Facebook says we've been friends for 20, so I guess those other 5 years were hit or miss. 25 years as a husband, almost reached that point. Yeah, Facebook is a bit weird, I guess, then. I guess those 5 years were just kind of the college days that disappeared because of some reason. I don't know where I was going with that. Havoc, you're getting weather up there in Illinois? Ah, I'm sorry to hear that, Caleb, but I hope that that the process was amicable. Okay. Gergman, you have a 5-hour drive planned tomorrow through the storms? Ugh. That does not sound enjoyable. Down under, you've been married 20 years together, another 4. You would have been out for murder with good behavior in 17. Oh, tornado watches are not. Oh, those can get scary. Granted, typically the only time we have to worry about tornado watches here in Florida are, hey, watch out for a tornado caused by the hurricane. So yeah. All right, let's try to get this thing around the pulley there. We got it. And this time we're going to go through the top hole. Okay. We've got that belt run. And now we get to do on the other side. Got that. And again, the same thing. In through the center. Back down through. Okay. Got that back down through. And now let's see what it wants us to do. Double check before proceeding. Well, that all looks good. It's really loose, but it's how they wanted it done, apparently. Okay, we need to get the Bowden guide now. Let's see here. Yeah, Havoc, I'm hoping Anycubic ships that printer to you soon. You have been waiting for that thing for a while. An average of 9 years per marriage, but consecutive 26. I'm on the first, and I'm hoping only marriage. Howie, I think someone could put up with you for at least for more than a decade. All right, so let's see here. We need those square nuts again, which we have. M3x10s. Those are right there. And some zip ties, which are right here. And then, of course, apparently that's our Bowden tube piece. Attach the next extruder to the linear arm. So we're going to turn this thing around. And then we need M3x10s. To attach this. I am hoping that when we tighten up these idler tensions, that takes out quite a bit of slack, because these things are awfully loose, but this is what they're saying to do. All right, so that's one. Two. Three, and number 4. See, I'm from Florida and I can count. Let's see here. Howie, you were going to do an S1 Max, but thought about the Core One, but you ended up getting a 250. A 2.4 350 and doing a 5-tool steel changer. Hey, the big thing is are you having fun doing it? Because as long as you're having fun doing it, then no one can really complain. Now, if it's miserable while you're doing it, then yeah, you might have made a mistake. Okay, we're just doing our cross tightening here to make sure that we are all nice and good. All right, those are all nice and tight. But those are probably some of the loosest belts I have ever seen. All right, so what it's saying is to take a zip tie now. And we're going to rotate this around. Howie, I'm right there with you. Builds are fun. Okay, so on this one, there is little cutouts for a zip tie to go through. And it felt like there might have been a bit of support material in there, but it just came right out. So this cable comes around the outside, and then, so let me tilt this up. So it comes around the outside of here, in through here, and then back down. And then it's having us take the zip tie and zip tie that in nice and tight. And then we're going to trim off our X. I want it over here like so, and then we're going to trim off the excess. And I have the strangest feeling. Yep. We get to do it all over again. On the other side. But this one doesn't look like there's as much in and out. Yep, this one just kind of goes straight down. All right, so we've got that one in there nice and tight. Get our flush cuts and trim off the excess. All right. Then we need to get our square nuts. Caleb, I can definitely say that could have been a lot worse. But as long as you're happy now, hey, that is what matters. Is you're happy, she's happy. Because, you know, I think everyone should end up being happy. I know I'm probably in the minority thinking that, but okay, this is saying you now take our Bowden guide and attach it using an M3 by 10. So we got our square nut in, then our M3 by 10 is going to go through the Bowden guide into that nut that we just put in there. Just tightening this up. And we don't want to go too tight because, again, we're going metal screw into metal and nut and sandwiching two pieces of plastic together. They do seem a long way off, don't they?
There's about 15.
Am I muted? All right. Let me check something here. So we are on step 64 out of 83. I'm good to keep going. How are you guys feeling? Let me know. Do you think we should go ahead and call it a night tonight? We can sit here and
I'm not asleep. It's just that my throat hurts more than it did before.
all right. I did not know that your throat was hurting. So I could say, do you guys want to keep going until we finish it, until we finish this chapter? Do you want to continue next stream? I'm good either way. I'm going to leave it up to you guys. Are you guys still feeling entertained?
Are you not entertained?
Howie, we're on step 60. Yeah, I don't know how many sub-steps are within the steps. I just know we're on step 64. And it's 83, so 19 more steps until
Really,
this chapter's done.
Because like one of them's the hair, but bears and like.
All right, looks like you guys are still good to go, so we need to grab our little XY strut. And then we need the white LED strip found in the packaging. Those are seals and ties. That is our filament sensor cable. Those are more zip ties. Well, considering the fact that that's the only LED strip I see in there, I'm going to assume that's the white LED strip. Unfortunately, no, I can't do a 7-day marathon. I do have to work. You know, I need to make money so I can sit here and buy more printers so I can stream more. Those are our rivets. Let's see here. M3x4. I need M3x4 RT. Which was in this package. So it's probably on the desk here. M3x4 RT, which I have strewn all over the desk, so we're good there. I've got my 2 of those. Okay, so what it's saying is we're going to peel off the protective layer from this. And then on here, we have a little notch on one side. And that's going to be our guide. That little notch is our guide for which side the cable comes out of. Doing a little peel there. And then we're grabbing. And I'm just trying to get this kind of centered here. And oh, that's wonderful. So I peeled off the paper that's supposed to leave the adhesive backing on the LED strip. The adhesive backing came off on the paper. Let's see if I can get this thing kind of centered back on here, and then try pulling that paper back off again. How you doing, Cody? Welcome on in. Glad you could join us. Okay. So the big question now is now, there we go. This time our adhesive came with the light. All right, there we go. We got it fairly centered. And now it's actually sticking. Jurgman, I won't go as far as staples, but I was about to pull out the hot glue gun. But now that I think about it, nope. I use that in IT, but that wouldn't work in a printer, because the hot glue would just melt. Granted, I'm pretty sure the adhesive is eventually just going to melt, but... All right. We have our light on there. Okay, so we're going to rotate this. That way the carriage is facing us. And then the cable is going to come out to the left-hand side, like so. There are 2 holes for screws here, and there are 2 holes on this gantry. Before I squeeze down on that and make a mess. Okay, so it's saying to align the holes. The cable points to the left. And then we're going to grab 2 of these Torx. And feed it through and get this thing screwed in. We have light. Yeah, Parky, the gantry does take a bit. The gantry and the back assembly with bed seem to be the longest steps in these guides. So all right, now we need to get the cables box again, and we need the door sensor, which is this one. And now we need our M2. I could have sworn I saw these earlier. M2.5 by 10s. That's M2 by 8. Those are all M3s. M2.5 by 10. And then we need 4 zip ties. We're down to 3 in this package, so it's time to grab the next package. Okay, we're gonna apparently finally flip the gantry back over. Cable goes that way. And they're saying position with the white LED strip facing cable. So position it kind of at a diagonal with this cable facing towards you. Then we're going to take, apparently, we're going to thread the zip ties into the zip tie holes. I will say these zip tie holes are nice. One. Two. Let's see here. Package in Florida. Okay, I gotta read back something here. Alien tape is just Walmart VHB. The answer takes a while. Just got back. Mad Dog, you just hit a cabinet temp of 34C with a humidity of 34%. That's actually not bad. I'd like 34% humidity sometimes. But package in Florida is short for cold iguana falling. It depends on where you are. South Florida, I would say yes, that's the case. You get a bit farther north around the I-4 corridor and farther, not too many iguanas up that way. Okay. Zip tie 3. And it's just saying, hey, get them started. And it's saying flip the assembly back with the motors facing upwards. All of that was to sit here and put zip ties in, apparently. Okay, so now it's saying to take our door sensor, and there's one of the idlers that has a slope on it. The door sensor is going to go with the little wheel side. Let me go ahead and stand up and show you guys. The little wheel is actually going to be towards the top. So if the top of the printer is that way, that's where you want the wheel, on that little slope. And then it's saying we're going to secure this with one of our M2.5 by 10s. Okay. And this is a 2mm. And it looks like it's going in the bottom hole. Into a printed hole on the idler. All right. And now we're going to take the screw that we partially screwed in earlier, and that's actually going to screw in more until I guess this screw touches the door sensor. It keeps it from rotating this way. All right, I've got that in there, and that's going to keep that from rotating. Let's see if they give any. They're saying the lever must face forward. Now what they're showing is that this sensor is kind of angled so that the edge of the sensor is in line with the edge of the idler. There we go, and I can always tighten or loosen that later to adjust it. And then now we're grabbing our fourth zip tie for this step. So Wick, I do not have a buddy cam at this time, but that is good to know for anybody else that is building this. If you bought the buddy cam, apparently this is a good time to get that USB cord in here. All right, so we're going to take and feed our zip tie through. And that comes down like so. And then we're going to use the zip tie kind of as a strain relief. Tightening that down. We're going to get our flush cutters and snip that. All right, our cable is in there. I have the strangest feeling now. Let's see here. Prepare a cardboard box. You can use any from the kit. We're going to flip it upside down, it says. We're going to use the Core XY hinge box. And then we're going to route these two cables through the zip ties that we did earlier. And I can definitely see if the buddy cam goes in this same section, why you would want to do it now, because it would suck to sit here and get all through this, go to the next manual for them to tell you, hey, all those zip ties you just did, cut them and do new ones. Let's see here. Done. That actually sounds like a pretty nice job down under. Okay. That's one zip tie. Two zip ties, but I want to make sure, yep, there we go, that's nice and tight. Three zip ties and snippy snip. One, two, and three. Okay. Now it's saying about the buddy cam. And it's saying, hey, skip this step if you're not planning on using the buddy cam. Cool. I'm not planning on using that at this time. Okay, I need M3x8 RT. M3x4 RT. Those are M3x8 RTs. Good. And we need our last two linear rods. So we've got those. Okay, I need to move this aside. So I can grab our base back. All right, now they're saying it is a requirement to insert the rod slowly, so that way the ball bearings don't shoot out. We've got those two in. And saying temporarily take these and hang them over the back, which they don't want to do. And then we're going to grab our gantry and put it on. The printer. What I'm going to have to do is hold these okay, got that part in. Let's zoom in on here. So yes, those go in there. That fits in that thing. Okay. That has our Z rods within those. That within there. Okay. And then it's telling us to take and tighten down these screws to hold the linear rods into this. Okay. And now it's saying, after all of this, and I'm glad I didn't do this before, to take and tighten from the outside in all of the screws on the X rail. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Okay, now from the back of the printer, we're going to come out this side. There is a grounding cable with a spade terminal. That's back here. That's going to come back out through here. I don't know how, if you guys can see that. I need my tiny flathead. I'm just gonna give that a bit of a loose in there so I can actually get that terminal in there. There we go. We've got that in just like it shows on the picture. And then it's saying to take the X motor and feed that through. And then it doesn't show a picture of this, but it is saying to take the white LED strip cable and the door in-stop cable and feed it through that same grommet. All right. Now we're going to feed all these cables for the fan down through the gantry and then through the grommet on the top here that we installed a while ago. And I'm finding just turning it 90 degrees is helping get through that grommet. because there is not much room to get fat fingers in here. There we go. All those cables are in through. And then on the other side, one of these holes over here is grommeted, the other is not. We want to feed the cable for the Y-axis motor, I believe. Yeah, the Y-axis through the grommeted hole. Tulsa, how you doing? Welcome on in. Yeah, Tulsa, I don't even have the wires for the buddy cam. Okay. So from the back side, locate the oval screw hole under the cooling fans. All right. The oval hole must be flush with the hole in the bed in-stop part. To compensate slightly, raise the rear of the XY and then use an M3 by 8 RT screw to get that screwed in. So I do apologize that I don't have an extra camera here to show you guys this.
I'll have some of that in strawberry down under if you got any.
Okay, we've got that lined up. Let's see here. And then they're showing to not line it up with the bottom, but go even higher so you're about midway, and then tighten it up. And now we get to feed all the cables into this stuff. Let me see. All right, that gives you guys a bit of a better view. So it's saying we're going to feed them in through this hole. All right, so I'm going to call this one fan 1. Because that is our fan that is on this side. There's no other reason for this. This comes all the way over like so. And then this one will be fan 2. Okay. And then we need to grab the chamber thermistor. And that's going to go into the second slot. Okay. Next, it's to grab our X motor cable. It's going to come through this side. The LED strip and the door sensor are also going to go through that side. Okay, so our door sensor is the brown and white, and the LED is the red and black. And then the Y, which knocked our grommet out, is going to come through the hole on the left hand side. And now they're going to show us, so the LED strip, which I said was the red and black, I believe. Yep, red and black for LED strip. That gets connected to our second slot on the board. We got that in. The door sensor comes down to below the capacitors. And there's a connector there. And then the X is going to go to the far one, so our Y is going to go not to the far outside, but one in. We have our X and our Y's connected. And we get hairy bows. Oh, I get a lot of hairy bows. I get 7. Let's see here. That's 4. 5, 6. and 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And with that, that step is completed. It looks like the next one is going to be for the next extruder assembly. So I'm going to go ahead and eat these gummy bears. Wick, I could say if I don't have enough for the entire stream, I can very easily purchase these. And I will be happy to purchase more gummy bears. No, Tulsa. I did not make sure that the colors matched. I just grabbed 7. Because that's the number it told me to grab. I don't care about the colors.
How dare you, sir? How dare you?
But with that, I think that is a good stopping point for the night. We still have, you know, three more steps before we get to calibration and first run. And that is the next extruder, building the next extruder. It says bodywork and electronics. I have no idea what that means. And then trim doors and LCD. Let's go and see. How many steps is in the next one? Okay, 57. So compared to this one, not that many. Let's see here. Wick, I have a way to get the EU ones here. I live in Florida where we are the melting pot, and there are quite a few ways and quite a few places that will actually pay to import the EU stuff to serve an EU clientele here in Florida. But other than that, in about an hour, I'll probably be on Discord. Sitting here, Down Under Maker, you made it just in time for the end of the stream. But I'll probably, in an hour or so, I'll probably be on Discord. It's all going to depend on if James decides if we're going to be doing a recap and movie and everything after stream. But other than that, I've been Penguin Makers. Behind the camera has been James Cube. And I'll tell